Hey everyone. So a few questions were asked about 12 and 13, which I think those are both really good questions to kind of go over. So just to kind of give you a heads up, at least for number 12, there's more than one answer, so there's no really right or wrong answer, I guess per se. Well, per se. Um, so it's asking you to suppose you want to add or subtract two quadratic trinomials that use the same variable. What are the possible classifications for the sum or difference? And then they want you to explain. Okay, so if we're dealing with a quadratic trinomial, remember quadratic means that we're dealing with, and for this, just for the sake of everything, I'm just going to use x. So if it's a quadratic trinomial, we're going to use technical difficulty for a second. So for a quadratic trinomial, quadratic means then it's raised to the second power is our highest degree, and a trinomial means then that there's at least three terms. So if I was to do something as basic as this, x squared plus x plus 1, okay? That could be one of them, and then we can have another one that could honestly just be the exact same thing. So if we had the exact same one, and I was to add those together, what would be the possible application after adding those, or what would the classification of adding those two? So if you added those together, what would it be? And it would help if you could see it. Sorry about that, y'all. So if it was the same thing, and we were to add those two together, just with adding, so x squared plus x squared would give us 2x squared, this is with adding, x plus x would give us 2x, and then 1 plus 1 would just be 2. Alright, so the classification of this one then could be again, a quadratic trinomial. And then if we were to subtract that, so this is with adding, you could get a quadratic and that's not the only answer, because you could also get either a linear situation or even a constant, which we're going to see a constant in just a second. So let's say then we were to subtract this. So if I added those two, that'd be one thing. Then if we subtract it, well, anything times subtracting itself is just going to be 0. So this would be 0x squared. X minus x would just be 0x. And granted, you wouldn't be writing all of this. This is just extra. I'm going through the process. So if you already know what the answer is from that, that's fine. Again, I'm just trying to go through it slowly and seeing what's going on. 1 minus 1 would just be 0. So that would be plus 0, and then, you know, anything times 0 is just 0, so 0 plus 0 plus 0 is just 0. So then if we were to classify that, then it would just be a constant, because it has a degree of 0. Monomial, because there's only one term, monomial. So these are two different answers that you could get from either adding or subtracting. Now you could have added this if this had been all negative values. You could have had this flipped then at that point. There's also ones where you, like I said, you could get it linear. So it's asking you what's a possible situation that you can get by adding it. And again, you don't need to use these. These are just ones I made up. So just make up your own and just try it out and see what you get. Hopefully that helps with number 12. And then with number 13, we are dealing with perimeter. With fence length, remember we're dealing with perimeter. Right, and we know that the total perimeter is this. This would be the total perimeter length, right? So that's our final result. And if we were to add up all the sides, that would give us our perimeter. So if we did 5a plus 10a minus 2 plus a squared minus 7 plus some unknown, it's going to give us this amount. So if I was to set this up, I'm only going to help you set it up, all right? So if I know the total perimeter, so we need a perimeter is equal to side, 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 and you could label this as A, B, and C, that's fine. Right? So if I was to know, I know what my total is, it's 3a squared. I have 15a plus 9, that's my perimeter. That's what I know that the total length around this is. I know that one side length is 5a. I know the other side length is 10a minus 2. I know that another side length is a squared minus 7. And then I have some unknown. I'm going to make that a blank. I don't want to make it a variable because I'm worried that some of y'all are going to think that it's like a different variable than it is, but that's just some unknown blank. Okay, we know it's a length. We know it's some type of polynomial. We don't know what it is yet. At this point, if this were me, you're going to want to simplify this far side, okay, minus this blank. We're still going to have to just write it as plus blank, but simplify what you do know in standard form and see what's missing from the other side. So you could simplify this, and then you could either maybe treat it as like a one-step equation where you're trying to find this unknown, and maybe you have to bring this over, hint, hint, or maybe you just want to just guess and check what you would need to add over there. But that's what I would do. If you still have some questions on it, let me know, and I can build on this just a little bit more, but I want you all to kind of work at this one because honestly number 13 is a really good one. And like I said, for number 12, I don't want to see the same answer that I just wrote. Okay, there's more than one answer, and I'm not asking for all of them. Okay, so just give us one of them. Okay, for adding it and then subtracting it, and then show me like what polynomials were you were adding and subtracting, so I can kind of see what you were dealing with. But use this to help you with solving for number 13. So like I said, just reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm here to help, and I'll talk to you soon.